We're good to go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Manhood. This is Saturday, March 7th, and we're late. We're late. Welcome, Erich. You're on early, dude. I thought I set an alarm, and I did not set an alarm. So we're on a little bit later this morning, but that's okay. For me, it's a Saturday, and I don't actually have to go to work. So we can hang out as much as we want. It'll be great. All right. Today's going to be interesting. Today's going to be very, very interesting for me. Because we're about to go and we're about to read one of the hardest to understand parables, in my opinion, that exists in Luke chapter 16. And so I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. But it definitely is not going to be the easiest thing to break down. So essentially, I've got like a couple different pathways that people do generally take, and then what I think is the proper understanding of Luke chapter 16. So it'll be good. It'll be very, very good. We're going to go in here, and we're going to, real quick, just, I can't do crafting, that's why. All right, we did that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get on our horse. Here we go. We're going to kill the fire giant real quick, and then we're going to study Luke chapter 16 together. It's going to be great. Hold on. Gotta move. All right, we do need to go through what we're grateful for, though, this morning. So we'll start there. I'm super grateful. That's I'm not kidding you when I say this. That is literally the longest I've slept in. I slept in until like 5:50, 5:45. And that is the longest I've slept in probably since, I don't know, November. So that was really nice. Very, very nice. You know what I need to do? I need to get off this thing. Oh, that's electrifying it. Man, I was trying to poison it. Oh, move. We did it. We got halfway. We're ready to go. I don't really enjoy watching people's legs break. Okay, move out of the way a little bit. Hey, thanks for following. You're a basset now. That's cool. All right. So I'm grateful for sleeping in. That was the longest I've gotten to sleep in a long time. All right, we got to move. I think we're going to do this first shot. That's at least my goal. It's probably mine as well. I don't think this is my favorite. Okay, well, never mind. We're not going to do it in first try. Hey, Mrs. Bull, welcome. But I played that really dumb. Really, really dumb. All right, we are going to study Luke chapter 16. We're going through what we're grateful for first. I've also been contemplating adding in a daily proverb rather than trying to chew through the proverbs all at once. So we'll see if we do that. Maybe we'll start incorporating that into it. What playthrough are you on? This isn't like a new game plus or whatever. I started fresh. I don't exactly know. I'm probably on 4, maybe. I think I'm on like something like 4. You know what we should do? No, we should use this first. Well, actually, I'm not able to proc it, so maybe we shouldn't do that. All right. I've done the DLC, I think, 2 times. I think I've done this 4 times. All right. It breaks so easy. Here, hop off. Oh, it didn't go. Oh no, we're dead. We're dead. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start fighting with poison a little bit. Oh, thanks for following. Uh-oh. I gotta move. I don't know where he's at. The albino straw hat. Sounds cool. Oh. Alright. I think we can get halfway right here. Yeah, we got it. Alright, nobody has to watch his leg break. Don't worry. Okay. Move. Hold on. Oh, yeah, you just stand in it. That'll work good. Oh, I ran out of... Gotta move again. Hold on. Oh, he sprayed him with poison before he died. That's good. Get it. Oh, I'm not getting it. If I don't do it here, I'm going to be disappointed. Okay. I think you have to stay on his right. I think that's the only way to not get hit. Okay, well, you can't get hit by that, though. Oh, I forgot. I got to finish my gratitudes for the day. If you're here and you want to throw something you're grateful for, we do it every single day. 3 things we're thankful for. We're told to enter his courts with thanksgiving, so we always start with that. It's also, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Not with me. Okay, that's going to work. Man, that's the second time that's happened where I get rolled over and then get blown up. It's frustrating. I've been on a pretty strict diet, and I ate a small piece of pizza yesterday, and I was super grateful for that. That was really good. It was a really good piece of pizza. And then finally, my third thing that I'm grateful for is just the nature of where I work. We have a lot of ability to fix things. Oh, nice, Tristan. That's awesome. I mean, working 6 days a week is not the most fun thing in the world. Is this the only weapon of the game? No, it's not. But I will tell you, it is, for a Dex user, it's powerful, and it's very, very, very consistent. So, I had a winged scythe out for a little while, but it's just way, way, way less easy to use. Oh, now he's not going to have the... I'm not going to need the rune arc, actually. We'll wait. We're not going to be the most interesting playthrough. I thought about shifting to just like a full-on faith playthrough to see how that went. But that just takes effort, and I haven't taken time because I literally get on here and we read a chapter of the Bible before the end. But Tristan, that's sweet. Oh, what I was going to say is the nature of where I work and what I do, we have the ability to just fix a lot of things, and I'm super grateful for it. Because it's like one of the still hacking away. Hey, it's only been like 20 minutes since the last time you were here. I mean, 20 streaming minutes. I literally just got straight back on this thing. Hold on, I gotta poison my... Alright, we're good. Let's roll. Thank the Lord gives me strength too. Idle mind is the devil's playground. And what a statement. Wow. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Hold on. Nope. Gotta stay out of that, dude. My mimic tier should have a horse. Okay. No. Okay. Alright. Alright, we're on to Luke chapter 16. This is one of the hardest parables for me to understand. It's one of the most misunderstood parables that exists. And so we're going to be delving into that. And we're going to see how it goes. I will say, giving context as to where this is, I don't know how important it is, but I think it's important to bring it up. Remember where we've just come from. Okay, so like last chapter, we were sitting there. Jesus sat down. He reclined at the table with tax collectors and sinners. They came before him. The Pharisees were like, man, what an idiot. Who is this guy? Why is he sitting with these terrible people? And then he tells them 3 parables at that time. So he tells them the parable of the lost sheep, right? And he talks a ton about rejoicing in heaven over the finding of one sinner who repents, then of 100 righteous people or 99 righteous people who do not need it. And then he talks about the woman who lost her 1 coin out of 10. And he talks about how, I didn't even heal up. That was a mistake. How she'll call her friends together to rejoice, and essentially making the statement that these people who they consider to be bad, they should... Okay. Oh, it only hurt the horse. That's good. We should be rejoicing over them coming near for salvation, for trust, for all that. Hold on. I gotta move. And then he also talks about the prodigal son. That's the same story there too, right? So that's where we've just come off of, is him finishing those stories. And this is the next line, right, is where we're heading into Luke chapter 16. Stop moving, stop moving, stop moving, stop moving. We're good. Oh, no, he's going to hit me. Okay, we're fine. All right, we're going to re-poison. Oh, and then he's going to stomp on us. Okay. All right. Hold on. And he's using that a lot. Oh, we did get him poisoned, though. We did get him poisoned. Oh, I missed. Missing every time. All right. Oh, that was fun. So, Luke chapter 16. He also said to the disciples, there was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was wasting his possessions. Okay? And he called him, and he said to him, what is this I hear about you? Hold on. Okay. Turn in the account of your management, for you can no longer be manager. So, a couple things here. And there's some debate as to exactly how this would work. So I want to call that out. I'm not bringing up actual biblical information here, but it is historical information, so it's likely to be true. There is, at this time, when a manager of a person's estate, they would pretty much manage everything, right? From like livestock to money to whatever else was in the possession of the person. And usually what we're told is that they would be essentially paid through collecting debts. So if it was a rich person, they would have debtors. And let's say that you borrowed, $50 worth of stuff. It would be like, hey, you go out, you can collect interest on that $50 worth of stuff. And so rather than 50, you take in 60, say, hey, there's interest of up to $60, and then you get the 10. That's one of the ways it's said that they would work at the time. That's how managers would operate. And so they would charge slightly more than the person had borrowed in order to essentially make a commission on the thing. This is a big reason why tax collectors were seen so negatively. tax collectors were doing a very similar thing, collecting more tax than was necessary to cover themselves. Though I don't think that tax collectors were necessarily paid just off of whatever they collected. I think that they were given a wage. But this is often how the agreement would work. Is you would just go in and, hey, manage everything, collect debts. You can keep whatever interest you collect off the debts. And so it was likely that this manager, and he is running backwards. I think we're going to get half right here. Oh, I didn't know we could break him. It was likely that this manager had inflated these numbers, especially since he's a dishonest manager. A couple hits and then move. Now, that is just like historical information. That could not be the point of this, but it's good to know. So, and he's saying, hey, you're squandering my stuff. It seems like you're doing dishonest things. What's going on? What's this I hear about you? How true is it? Come on. All right. Don't get hit by the suns. That's the key. Don't get hit by the suns. Every time that's how I'm dying. How long do the suns last? Okay, there. All right, here we go. Okay, well. Oh, he didn't go that far. Oh, why am I off? Why am I off the horse? All right, we're fine. Everyone's okay. We're okay. Why did that not hit anything? There we go. Right, we're fine. Close to that one. Hold on. Hold on. Things are going to calm way down here right after this. Oh. Okay, well. Come on. Alright, here we go. Here we go. If those get close enough to you, they need to blow up. Oh, see, this is always a mistake going on the side. Hold on. All right. I think we're going to do it. Unless I get another one of those to the face. I still haven't gotten him. Come on. Come on. All right, here we go. Okay. Gotta go clock in. Matthew 18:20. We could read that. I don't know off the top of my head what Matthew 18:20 is. If I die right here, I'm going to be very disappointed. Okay, I gotta move back. Alright, we're good. We're good. Just stay calm. Don't go on the side of him. That's how you die every time. Okay, the fact that I never got poison on him. There we go. We're good. Nope, we're not good. We're not good. Okay, hold on. Alright, we did it. Great job, everybody. Okay. And here you go. For the sake of everyone else, hit the foot. Thank you. Yeah, we were tempted to. For the sake of everybody, we'll pull the wing scythe back out so we're using something different than what bothers everybody. Here you go. Just not nearly as cool. All right. So, Manager says, hey, turn in the account of your management for you can no longer be manager. So he's about to be fired. He is being asked, hey, go ahead and give me an account of everything you've got going on so that I can hand this over to somebody else, right? So this is the reason he's not just immediately, canned. It's like, hey, pull all this stuff together so that we can move forward. So he said to himself, what shall I do? Since my master is taking the management away from me, I'm not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. So I'm not going to do either of those two things. I have decided what to do. So when I am removed from management, people may receive me into their houses. So this guy's been squandering things for a long time, and all of a sudden he turns around. Hey, thanks for liking it up, Most High. Welcome. Luke 6 through 27. Love your enemies. We're on Luke 16 right now. Isn't there a side of grace, or do I have to just crawl up this thing to get it? We'll go up here. Okay. So he decides what to do. He's going to go there so the people take him in. So, summoning his master's debtors one by one, he said to the first, how much do you owe my master? Is it up here, though? Oh, but it's not necessary. I think there's one up here, isn't there? Let's go over here. So summoning his debtors in, he called to the first and said, how much do you owe my master? He said, 100 measures of oil. This is a massive amount of oil. Like, this is years of wages during this time. So we're talking about a massive amount of money that's being owed. Right? These were big transactions happening. This is not a small, a small-time person. We're going to be totally distracted here, so we're going to just take one moment and then keep going because Melon is about to burn herself alive. Hold on, let's level up first. Let's go higher on this and this. God bless. I don't know if I could say that. And Capdalic. Let me know how I did. Okay, runes held. I should increase my FP. There you go. All right, let's do it. Hey, thank you for the rose. I appreciate it. All right. Oh, man, we got some GGs. Thank you. Okay, yeah, go ahead and commit it. I don't feel like I'm the one committing it, though. All right, I just heard a loud ding-dong, and I don't know what it does. But I really... Geofro, thank you so much. We're going to have to see what that does. Okay. So, he owes him 100 measures of oil, and he says, take your bill, sit down, and quickly write 50. So, cut it in half. Right? Tips for Soldier of Godric. I have no tips. It's one of the hardest in the game. There's nothing you can do about it. It's usually the key thing that stops people from progressing through this game. The biggest thing I could tell you is you got to get good. You got to take your time. You got to keep trying over and over again. Step into the fire as Melon is doing here. All right, so he says, cut it in half. Then he says to another, how much do you owe? And he says, 100 measures of wheat. And he said to him, take your bill and write 80. Key thing here, there's a bunch of... Depending on not what translation, but like what original manuscript, a lot of these numbers, like 100 measures is about 875 gallons, 3,200 liters. So depending on what translation you get, they will, we're on the Shrewd Servant. Depending on what translation you have, they will translate so that it makes more sense, right? Okay, so when you read it and it says like 875 gallons or 800 gallons, it's trying to translate measures into what who's Melina, Flamed Frenzy. She's the Gloom-Eyed Queen. She is not a part of the Frenzy of Flame, but she's burning the tree for us so we can get inside there and take out who's that? Radigan. Okay, so that's where you see, sometimes you see 100 measures, sometimes you see different measurements. It's showing you how much this is large amounts of stuff.
Thank you.
And so he calls these people in. He cuts their, he cuts the amount that they owe, so that they receive him better, right? They see him as better, and they want to give him help once you get out here. Yeah, correct.
The one who walks
Yep.
alongside flame
Sorry, I'm kind of ignoring her to go
shall
read
one
through
day
this.
meet the road of destined death.
Oh, we're going to meet it soon. Okay.
Goodbye.
So cut it in half, says to another, 100 measures of wheat he owes, take your bill and write 80, cut it down as well. And it says this is what's super interesting. The master commended the dishonest manager for his shrewdness, for the sons of the world are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than the sons of light. Okay, so bear in mind here, the point that he's making is not, hey, you should be dishonest, and that would be good, right? I think that's not what we're taking from this. That is not a proper understanding of what's happening here. There's a couple ways to see this. One of which would be this, right? And he says here, and I'll read a little bit further on before we go too deep into kind of a couple of ways that this parable is seen. He says, I tell you, make friends for yourself by means of earthly wealth, so that when it fails, they may receive you into eternal dwellings. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much. If you then have not been faithful in worldly wealth or unrighteous wealth, who will entrust you with true riches? Hey, thank you for following, Keith. And if you have not been faithful in what is another's, who will give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. Okay, before we dive into that, I think it's important that kind of gives you a sum total of the story of what Jesus was trying to say here. So there's two ways to see this. One of which is this. So if you just take it from the perspective of, hey, you see the shrewd manager, it's just telling a story, right? So this doesn't relate directly to financial wealth, right? There's one way to see that. In that case, what he's saying here is this man is called into question, right? He's at the verge of losing like his security net, losing his safety, right? He needs salvation. That's the point that's happening here. He is made aware of how desperate his situation is. And so what he does, right, he's been squandering this man's money, he's been throwing it away, and then all of a sudden there's this moment where there's this reality that happens in his life. So he stops everything. Right? He drops everything. He forgets about all the money. He has no interest anymore in utilizing his master's wealth for himself. He drops all that, goes and starts immediately working as generously as he can to these people so that they receive him in. And so if we take just in that realm from a spiritual perspective, we see that what God is saying here is act shrewdly. Why is there so many bloodstains right here? Act shrewdly, as though you understand what is happening, as though you understand how short your life is, right? Toward the end of there, it says, like, are you going to be faithful or dishonest? Those who are faithful in much will be entrusted in much, right? Those who are faithful here on earth, like, make friends for yourself by means of this worldly wealth, so that when it fails, they may receive you into eternal dwellings. Thanks, Nick, for following. Eternal dwellings, right? So this is it's just interesting to me that he's talking about eternal things, and he's talking about this like kind of just completely like worldly conversation and situation. And so with that, you see that the dishonest servant isn't commended because he's dishonest. He's commended. Hey, thank you for the heart me as well. He's commended because he dropped this thing of caring only about wealth, money, squandering these things, and shifted to a focus on being actually shrewd toward his future. Right? And if we take that perspective reading of this, I think what a huge thing that we can learn is we need to live as though tomorrow is not promised. Are we squandering our master's wealth? right? Are we squandering the wealth that's been given to us, or squandering the time, the talent, the treasure, whatever, and just not using it because, well, we've got time, right? I can squander this for now. We'll lock in and we'll do this stuff better later on, right? Or are we living shrewdly? Are we dropping everything? Are we living as the Master has called us to live, in order so that when things fall apart, we both have eternal friends here on earth, and we have an eternal Master in heaven that's actually thankful for us, right? That doesn't send us away. And so it's watching this guy act shrewdly as though he understands, like, hey, this is coming to an end. I need to turn things around. I need to be different, and I need to not care about money. Now, did he do it in the proper way? That's a question, right? That's a question. I don't know if he did it the proper way. So this is where it's unclear, and this is where we would shift our focus into, there's two possible ways to see this, right? If he did it dishonestly, and he's actually still, in essence, taking his master's money, but his master's grateful that he shifted, right? He's like, hey, you've acted shrewdly. You're not taking money from people anymore. You're not taking money from me. You're setting yourself up for your future. I can at least honor and respect that. The other way to see this is going back to how, Keith, that's so true. God gave us life, and that's the treasure he gives us, and he could take away. I think that's a great way to see this as well, right? Are we squandering our life? It's something that he's essentially loaning to us to be a manager of, as he's the master. That's a great way to see it. The other way that this could be seen is if we take a look at it from the perspective, it doesn't change really the outcome of this, but the perspective we talked about earlier about what the managers often would do and how they would be paid. Yeah, we got to go over there. Is that they would be paid by way of, hey, these guys owe me this amount of money. So you go, you're managing my estate, you're managing my stuff. I want you to go and collect that money. And whatever you collect on top of what the baseline of what is owed, whatever interest you collect is yours to keep. It's your payment, right? This is your payment for what you're doing. And so this is where, again, that hatred would come with these people, because they would take advantage. They would charge way more than they had been commanded to charge. And it's similar with the tax collectors, right? They would burden people down. Should we jump into this thing? Is that what it's telling us? We should jump in there. They would. It's same thing as tax collectors. They would burden people down with things that were far beyond what they were forced to collect, because that was their payment and they wanted to make a bunch of money. I just feel like I'm not going to enjoy using this scythe as much. Did you guys see that? That was great. Watch this. All right, we're good. Okay, so taking it in the other perspective, right? There is a chance that the point Jesus is making here is that, here we go, let's try attacking it. It's always important to try. That Jesus is making is that, hey, this gentleman had inflated the amount owed so much in order to make a lot of money for himself. And so when he turns, right, it's generally the same heart condition story, right? Turning away from this desire for wealth, in order to make true friends that can actually support you in the future. No, that was bad. Man, I can't. Hold on. Okay, we're good. Rather than doing that, what the other way to see this is, he took out his interest from what they owed. Right, and this is, it's questionable if that's the case, because they were large amounts that he reduced. But there are some scholars who believe that what is happening there is he's actually removing all of the interest he added into what they owed for his own wage. So he's still making the money back for his master, which is one way to make sense of this. Either way, I don't think it changes the root of what is happening in the story. I like how they don't even care, man. Doesn't change the root nature of what the story is telling us, but it's interesting to understand how that stuff worked at the time, or at least our historical understanding of how it worked at the time. And then at the end here, he does make it. This is one thing that Luke does more than almost anybody else, is talking about this element of actual worldly wealth. Right, this is something to kind of watch, because Luke talks about worldly wealth, I think, quite a bit more than the other gospel writers. And it seems to be like a key thing to him, of like the fact that wealth can get so far in the way of what Christ and what God has for us. Be wary of left. Okay. Let's parry him. All right. Cool. Oh, okay. Well, actually, left wasn't the thing that was the problem. All right, we're good. Ugh. All right. I'm going to try and parry him. Ouch. I'm struggling here. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so then he says, and this is where I just want to wrap this up, because one who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much, right? What are we going to be faithful in? And one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. This is something like my dad used to always say when he would talk to us about how we give in our life. Depressimus Prime, welcome. Thanks for following. But he would always talk about how it's like, hey, and I've never even connected that this was slightly quoting this before. But he would always talk about people who say that once they make money, they're going to give are lying to themselves. And he was always talking to us about, hey, make a decision about what you're going to give when you have every specified amount, even if it's $1, right? How much are you gonna give back to God? And he would talk about it. He's like, people who don't give when they have little will not give when they have much, right? The wealth is our relationship with God, and in a way, we're taxed by sin, which can take away our wealth. I think that's very true. I think that's very, very true. It shows our heart condition, right? And this is the other thing. I don't think I can drop out that window. Actually, we'll keep reading a little bit because this is good. So he had just set up above there, make friends for yourself by means of worldly or unrighteous wealth, so that when it fails, you may be received into the eternal dwellings. If you have not been faithful in worldly or unrighteous wealth, who will entrust you the true riches? Right? So if you're not actually generous, if you're not actually like living outwardly generously, why would God trust you with anything additional? Oh, okay, we're going this way. And that's something that, like, I feel like we've learned is like, hey man, the more that we give abundantly and give generously, the more that God just kind of opens the floodgates with us, and it's like continues blessing. And I don't think I view riches in the same way that everyone else does, because I view riches as like kind of all encompassing, not just like monetary money. But it is crazy how when we're generous with our time, when we're generous with our talent, when we're generous with our money and our treasure, like God just seems to continue to expand those things to allow for more, right? Amen. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and the righteousness thereof. I love that. And then it says this: if you have not been faithful in that which is another's, who will give you that which is your own? Right? Okay. So here's a cool thing. Hey, Von Phenomenon, welcome. Something to call out here. There's actually a way, as I was reading this, that I was seeing it that I thought was interesting, which is the fact that in a sense, right? We, as we walk through our lives, like to consider everything that we have to be ours. But if we take a look from the perspective of like the shrewd manager, and we think about the fact that everything given to me has been given by God above, right? In essence, I am the manager of his wealth. The things that he's put in my hand, the things that he's put in place in my life, I'm just carrying and managing. Welcome, Edwin. Thank you for following. Right? So this is what stands out to me. And I think something that we can learn from this is, are you walking in your life with your riches, with your stuff? I know you may not feel like you're rich, don't get me wrong, but if you live in any area where you're able to stare at me right now and see me, you are rich. Right? If you're literally watching a live stream right now, I'm sorry, you're wealthy. You're in the top, like at least top 10% of the world's wealth, right? You're massively wealthy, even if you're struggling. I've gone through times of struggle as well, but we've been blessed to live in the place that we live. Wow, dude, that's awesome. Devin, that's great. God gave me a family of 5 more than any man can ask for. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, we just had our 5th child, so we're feeling blessed in that realm. Anyway, sorry. The manager, he oversees, right, the wealth of his master. You and I have the exact same thing happening with us, right? We're overseeing the wealth of our manager. I'm going to die here. I feel like this is a really powerful one, and me walking around with this scythe is not the way to do it. But when we walk around, are we squandering the wealth that God has us overseeing, or are we? Man, I'm gonna die. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Ouch. How is he changing? Here, hit him on the head. Hit him on the head. Does this even proc bleed? Probably need to heal. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Oh, it does. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? We're good. We're good. We're good. Hold on. Ouch. Oh, no, I'm dead. Okay, this wing thing. Oh, but looking at it in that direction, right, of like it translating to us being, oh my goodness, dude, of us being the manager of the wealth. Hold on, hold on. All right. Buddy, careful. Oh, he killed him. That was a pretty good amount of damage. Oh, I'm stuck fighting. I'm stuck. Does this give me anything cool? Hit him on the face. Oh, man. Okay. So if we take it from that perspective, though, there's also this call out of he's calling these people who have been squandering, right? Like whether it's us, right? We can take it for ourselves. But also, if you think about the Pharisees, right? The lawyers of the day taking and quote unquote squandering his wealth, and he's calling them to repent. He's just gotten done talking about how they have the wrong motive. They're not rejoicing as his neighbors and his brothers should when people repent and attempt to come to the Lord. And so there's an element of him saying, hey, you've been squandering my wealth. I'm calling you to task. I'm calling out that, hey, you're not living for what I've asked you to live up to. And now someone who is truly shrewd, who is truly understanding, would drop everything, change their ways, give up these riches for themselves, and give so that they can actually have a home in heaven. Right? So there is another way to kind of view and see that. All right, hold on. Okay, that should not have hit me. That was ridiculous. Hold on. Oh, I missed. Oh, I missed again. Oh, I missed again. I should be dead. How close are we? Ugh. Okay, he's down. He's down. We're good. We're good. Hold on. We're almost done. Oh, we're so close. Is he on the ground? Oh, no, he's not. There we go. I'm so close to dying is the issue. Okay, I rolled through that, man. I don't even have a heal on me, I don't think. Oh, yeah, but I died. I'm not doing that again. I don't enjoy fighting those guys. Unless he has, does anyone know if he has something crazy that I need to get? Otherwise, I'm not doing it. All right. So if you have not been faithful, which is what kind of we're talking about right now, is like, hey, have we been faithful with God's wealth, even though we see it as our own? Are we faithful with it? Because if you haven't, how will you be faithful with that which is your own? And then at the very end here, he says something super interesting. For no servant can serve two masters, for he will hate one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. God and money here. Money is listed as mammon, which essentially personifies money as a master, right? That's kind of what's going on here. The money is being essentially personified as a person. So you can't serve both these things. Hello. Here, I'm going to just pass by. Don't worry about me. We're going to see what this is. Oh, you could put some dragon wound grease on there. Sweet. All right. So he does translate it directly to, you can't serve both God and money. The Pharisees, who were lovers of money, right? So now we're seeing the contrast as to who's hearing this and what they're taking in from it. Lovers of money heard these things, and they ridiculed him. And he said to them, you are those who justify yourselves before men, but God knows your hearts. We beat the giant, pig stitches. We did. We beat the giant. We're in Farum Azula now. You are those who justify yourselves before men, but God knows your hearts. For what is exalted among men is an abomination in the sight of God. If you are being lifted up in the sight of the people around you, it's likely that you are in trouble, right, with how God is perceiving you. And that's the point he's making here, is don't consider yourself to be good just because people are praising you. And that's what they looked for, right? They were, oh man, what? That was ridiculous. You totally read that off me. Kill that one. All right. You guys want to see something cool? Watch this. Nope, not that. Not that. All right, hold on. Hold on, we're going to fix this. I thought he would swing his sword, and he hasn't swung a sword once. All right, we're good. Okay. Those who justify yourselves before men, and that's what they've been doing, right? They've been justifying themselves before men, holding people to the law, holding people to this, make sure people know that they're following, but God knows their hearts. And he's been saying this over and over again. It says, the law and the prophets were until John. Since then, the good news of the kingdom of God is preached, and everyone forces his way into it. But it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one dot of the law to become void. So he is not abolishing the law, right? That's the point he's making here. The law is not passing away, but he is fulfilling it, right? But he is going to fulfill it. All right. Everyone who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and he who marries a woman divorced from her husband commits adultery. There was a rich man. Actually, we'll stop there real quick. It's an interesting single line here. But there's a point being made, which is that just because something is lawful for you to do, right, God has allowed for it, does not necessarily mean that it's good. And that's the point that he's essentially making here, is he's like, hey, just because you can give your wife a certificate of divorce. Wow. Oh, that was crazy. Just because you can does not mean you should, right? You are still committing adultery. It's a similar Hey Jacob, thank you. Similar thing here to like when he says, "Hey, just like he takes all the laws further, right? Even if you just look at a woman lustfully, you've committed adultery in your heart. He who is angry with his brother is essentially committing murder, right? Or he who hates, I can't remember which phrasing it is there, but he's taking this thing further than they've seen it before. He's saying, hey, you're looking at the approval of man, but all the while rejecting God's approval and God's perspective of your heart. I need this. My lady wants to get closer, but I've never tried and was always forced to. Get closer to God? Jacob, is that what you're talking about? Hates his brother. Thank you, Geofro. You're right. That's what I said that. I said that angry thing, and I was like, that's not right. I know that's not what it is. Dude, you should get closer to God, man. It's awesome. It's sweet. Everything goes better. Everything in life goes better. It's not that everything gets better. It's that everything goes better. It's and you take it better. It's good. Okay, so the rich man and Lazarus. We actually got to end here soon. All my kids are going to be waking up. Be angry, but sin not. Geofro's going to be like our theologian of the room. It's going to be great. All right. So there was a rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen. Purple is a kingly color, right? So purple and fine linen, very expensive clothes, and who feast sumptuously every day. And at his gate laid a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores. This dude is not doing well. Oh, that was such a long wind-up. I thought I'd be able to get through it. Oh, man, okay. I was trying to parry him, but I have not lined up the parry. You don't study God, Geofro? That's just what theologian is, a studier of God. All right. At his gate laid a poor man Lazarus covered with sores, who desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, even the dogs came and licked his sores. This is showcasing a level of humility, right? Or humiliation. Dogs licking sores was like a humiliating thing. And so that's what it's showing here. Completely humbled as a guy. Golden rune. What does it say? Okay, we're heading back in. So, dogs came, licked the sores. The poor man died and was carried by the angels to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried. And in Hades, being in torment, he lifted up his eyes and saw Abraham far off and Lazarus at his side. And he called out, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus to dip the end of his finger in water to cool my tongue, for I am in anguish in this flame. But Abraham said, Child. Okay, stop. This rich man is a descendant of Abraham. He says, Father Abraham. Abraham says, Child, right? There's a clarification being made here that Abraham does acknowledge that he is a descendant of himself, right? He is in the line of Abraham. And the point being made here is that is not enough. Being descendant of Abraham is not enough to be chosen by God, unless you are of God, right? And it says earlier, God can call up children for Abraham out of these rocks if he wants to. Yeah, I think so, Keith. I think that's a good point. I think that's a great point. I don't know if I need to head down yet or look through this room real quick. Okay, so he says, hey, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, send Lazarus down. So the roles have now completely reversed. Lazarus, while he was on earth, had everything. Not Lazarus, sorry. The rich man, while he was on earth, had everything. Lazarus had nothing. He begged, and now we see the complete opposite happening. Oh, my goodness. We're good. Now the complete opposite is happening. He's begging Lazarus, right? He's begging Lazarus to come. Oh my goodness. All right, we're good. He's begging Lazarus to come down and just give him a dip of water, right? Just give me something small that I can just wet the tip of my tongue with in this torment. Another thing to call out here, oh my goodness, is Jesus is making the point that there's some people who believe that this is it, like that thing in the afterlife is symbolic, and there's not really an afterlife, or it's not what we think it is, or it's not conscious. And Jesus makes it very clear, at least here, that his stories always consider a conscious afterlife, something that we are actively experiencing, something that we are interacting with each other with, which is important. And then as Abram said, child, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner bad things, but now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. And besides all this, between us and you, a great chasm has been fixed, in order that those who would pass from here to you may not be able, and none may cross from here to us. This is another reason why there's quite a few people who do not believe things like purgatory, transitional eternity exist, because it seems clear that Lazarus is in one place, it's in another. Yes, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. That's very true. It also seems to tie to this piece that we've been reading before, right? Which is Lazarus, while on earth, did not have all these good things. And then it said, like, the rich man is squandering them, right? He's not giving to those around him. He's not making friends here or he's not like giving to those in need. He's not being generous, and you see the outcome of this, right? And Abraham says, "There's a great chasm." And he said, "Then I beg you, Father, to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, that he may warn them." There's a transition here, right? He's changed. He's not looking for himself anymore. He's doing the same thing that essentially the shrewd servant does. He's doing it too late, right? Hey, send them to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, so that he may warn them, lest they also come into this place of torment. But Abraham said, listen, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. God has already been generous in who he sent. He sent all these people. And for us, we've been given Jesus. So we've been given the literal Holy Spirit of God to enjoy, to know, to like, give us wisdom and discernment. I am not a fan of these guys. Not a fan. Hey, thanks, Norby, for following. Welcome. All right. So he said, no, Father Abraham. Okay, so that's not enough. It's not enough for them to have all the people God has sent. God isn't doing enough for us. God isn't doing enough. Like, that's not going to be enough for me. If someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent. Pay attention here. Like, this is so important what's happening right now. And he said to them, if they did not hear Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced if someone should rise from the dead. Jesus is saying something profound here. He's saying, you're not going to listen to someone who comes back from the dead, because you won't even listen to me, and I'm going to. Right? If you're not listening now, you're not going to listen later. And he proves it to them. Right? They go and try to shut down everything. Hey, Keith, hope you have a good day, man. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And so this is what's like super important for us to, like, Jesus did that, right? Geofroach called it out. Jesus did that very, very thing. He called it out. And then, like, they still wouldn't believe, right? They go and try to shut down any movement that has anything to do with Jesus that entire time. Is this a boss? What do we do here? What does it say? Be wary of crowd. I just want to grab that thing and run. We're here every morning. Sometimes we take Sunday off, depending on, we have a brand new daughter, so sometimes I'm already up, so I'll get on anyway. We'll go Luke 17. What up, Bo? You want to come say hi? You look at that and say hi. Oh, maybe they can't see you. Oh, there you are. You're kind of in the corner. My kids are awake. I'm going to have to go. We'll finish this here. Oh, never mind. We already did finish it. That was the end of it. That was the end. Hi. Welcome. You have to, like, raise your hand in the air. Raise your hand way up. Yeah, there he is. There he is. He's there. All right. We're done for the day. I've got to go. It's plausible I'll be here tomorrow for Luke 17, but we may take the day off depending on how the night goes. I appreciate y'all being here. Keep Christ the center focus of your life. Stay in step with the Spirit. And they didn't even follow me. I will. You give your AA lead tonight? Sweet, dude. That's awesome. I'll be praying it goes super well. God gives you the words to say. That's great. Am I supposed to go over here real quick? Geofro, really glad to have you here, man. Thank you for being here. All right. You guys stay blessed. I'm going to go make breakfast for my family and enjoy time with them. Appreciate y'all being here. And we'll see you likely in the morning. If not, Monday we'll be here. We're usually here at least 6 days a week. Sometimes we're here Sunday, depending on when we wake up. We'll keep going. So with that, love you all. Goodbye.